welcome back to the vlogs. I have just arrived in the metropolis of Murupara, and I'm here today to run a workshop for Eastern Bay Reap. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited being in a small town community like this to share what it is that I'm really passionate about, which is personal growth, development, healing, and being able to provide a service that can support people with where they are. And East Bay Reap is, what is it actually? Okay, so I've just asked ChatGPT. East Bay Reap is a community organisation that helps people in the Eastern Bay of Plenty learn and grow no matter their age. Their goal is simple: to help their community keep learning and thriving. And so I'm here to support rangatahi youth who aren't in school or work, and the other one is small town communities, give them access to services that they might not in other places. And what I provide, wānanga, learnings around the mind, connecting more to self, deep hohonu thoughts, supporting others. This is a very niche space, particularly in the area that I'm from. And so being able to come to a place like this, like Murupara, and share this kōrero, I know it's going to be different for the people who are going to be there, but it's something that, you know, I really do feel can support people with where they are. And a cool thing about being here is that my mum grew up in this area. She grew up in Ruatahuna, which is about another 40 minutes to an hour inland, and it's a very, very small rural town. And then when she went to school, she came here and stayed with her whāngai family. So she was pretty much adopted into a whānau, and this is where she went to school. And so again, just another great reason to be here, to give back and to run a workshop around personal growth and development. And so this is a session today, so it's going to run for 5 hours, and then there's going to be one next week. So I'm just going to bring you along for what this is going to look like. I'm not sure how much I can share, but I'll try to get at least something so you know what it is that I'm sharing, the vibes, the feels, because this is a big part of the stuff that I really love to do. So see you in there. Okay, so just parked in this car park here. This is the town centre in Murupara. Just grab my bag. I don't know how people are going to feel with me having this camera. You know, being in a small town, a lot of people in small towns are a lot more shy or reserved. I don't even know if I should be saying that, but that's what I feel, you know. Travelling around a lot, doing a little bit of this, bit of that, gives me that feeling. But I'll just let them know, you don't need to be in the video, but this is part of the mahi. I think that's a cool thing about doing that, the whole personal growth and development, You got to be walking the talk. Are you being uncomfortable? Are you stepping out? Are you walking the path? Or do you just expect other people to do that? Hey. So let's get in there. That's where we're going here. Into East Bay Reap Health Clinic. Kia ora, kia ora. Kia ora, kia ora. Yeah. Vlogging. Oh, does that close itself? Yeah. Okay, sweet. Oh, kia ora, he hoa.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Oh, good to have you here, no mind.
Yeah, Miki. Tēnā koe. Kia ora, Laura. Rānira.
Kia ora, Rānira.
Is this where we're going to be? Oh, yep, mean. See a whiteboard in there?
Yep, whiteboard.
Our choice. Yeah, eesh, kia ora.
Just spotted you.
Oh, did you spot the brother, right? Yeah.
Cheers.
Like, sorry for tooting you. Like,
Nah, that's alright, bro.
we don't get
Celebrities in the hood. Sorry,
and
bro.
the technology too.
Yeah. Well, that's I was like, oh man, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get, because you know when you're coming to small towns, people are a lot more reserved and a bit more shy, but keep it fine. Yeah. Oh, shop for stopping and coming in to say kia ora. Tēnā koe. No, I'll be videoing, but it'll be more on me, not on you fellas.
Too much. Yeah.
But if you're too uncomfortable, I can just turn it off.
Check it out in the video.
I've got an activity where I've got these cards, but we need just like permanent like markers, because it goes on laminator.
Permanent markers and whiteboard
And
markers.
that's it, yeah, and a scissors.
I have these.
Oh, yeah, sweet, done
The
that.
diaries are still coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the first week or no?
Yes, it is.
Morena! See, remember as I just bloody said that, eh? You know, someone come in there like, oh man, is this fella recording? I don't want to be on it. But then this other fella just came past, and he actually stopped and came in and introduced himself. You know, so that's a bloody choice. But I'm making me a black coffee, and because of my darling wife, I now have a sweetener in my coffee, and I've got a couple in the truck. So, kia ora bro. So I just come to grab that so I can have a black coffee and wait. Everyone's just seeing me with this camera and they're just like, holy. The cool thing though is I've just heard like what this program is for. So there's a whānau who's got the money for a cabin, and so what they're learning is the process and how to build is how to build a cabin, and so that's what they're here for. And so what you fellas have in front of you is a tipuna mindset, and like the way that I really like to go about things is like we talk about a whole lot of hard stuff. We talk about, you know, how things are down on this level. But what tipuna mindset is, it's actually coming into who we want to be, the kind of ancestor we want to be, what kind of life we really want. Because if we have something that we have clarity on, if we have a way that our mind can focus on something that is outside of this, what it does is it prepares us for the hard things. And so, because hard things are always going to happen, but if we have something in our mind that we can focus on, it becomes the inspiration to go through it. And the other thing is that when we're doing tipuna mindset, it's elevating our thoughts. It's elevating us already, that if I can think about a person that I'm inspired by and get it absolutely clear on it, we've already got this part done. And so when we can think about something that doesn't even exist yet, like you'll see it on the bottom on the card there, how much money you want, the kind of quality you want to embody, the kind of things that you're going to do to activate your purpose. Those are things that are available to you, but they don't exist in the real world, right? In this physical plane. And so the teachings that I'm going to share now are from a guy by the name of Bob Proctor. And he's a kaumātua who's passed away now, but he's been doing this kind of mahi for his whole entire life. And he shares a few things. It's like when we think about us as human beings, we are physical, right? So we're physical, our bodies, right? We're spiritual, right? We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. Have we heard that before? Right? And so the thing between the two is what? So there's spirit, there's the body, the mind, ne? Right? He calls that an intellect, but we'll keep that in mind. The emotion is somewhere in between here. That's where the emotion exists. But this is what makes up who we are as individuals. Where we are living mostly, we're living mostly here. We're living mostly just more in the physical, what we can experience, what we can touch, what we can hear, what we can smell, what we can taste. Whereas if we can't do that, then it doesn't exist, right? But this suggests that we can't see wairua, but we know it exists, eh? And how do we know that? Because the mind is the bridge between the spirit and the physical. Because I can think about something that isn't real, that doesn't exist yet, it's because I'm tuning into the higher levels of thinking, right? Does that make sense? So when you think about a goal, it doesn't exist yet, eh? You can't touch it, you can't interact with it, but it exists somewhere. It exists in your mind, and it exists in a space that you can only get to in your mind. Kapai? And so when we think about it for us, we're spiritual beings enjoying this physical experience, and this is what helped me get this. And so these are the same as over there, are operating on different frequencies. So the higher the frequency, the more invisible it is. See? So physical, that's level 1. I can touch it, I can interact with it. When we come into the mental, we're operating on a higher frequency. When we go to the spirit, that's the highest frequency. So the best example is, I'm just going to use this water. Water is a physical, okay? Water is physical. So that sits in alignment to the physical body. Ka pai? So we've got water. So to change, we've got water. Oh my days. We've got water. Okay, so to change the vibrational level of water, you add heat to it, and what does that water turn to? Yeah, and what comes above the hot water? Steam, right? So now we've moved up to steam. So it's the same thing, right? It's water. You put that with heat, it becomes steam. So this here level is called a physical vibration. Here is astro vibration. If you continue to add heat to steam, what does it turn into? It was said before. Nothing. Air. Hey, right? So it turns into the air, which is an etheric vibration. But it's the same thing, is it not? So air is also water. And steam is also water. What I'm getting at, because you can't see it, doesn't mean to say that it doesn't exist.
It's not there. Yeah.
Yes, all right? And so that's the same with us as individuals. Just because we can't see spirit, we know it exists. Just as water, if you add something to it, the vibration of it changes, so our interaction with it changes. But because it goes into air and we can't see it, in our minds we say it doesn't exist. But knowing this suggests that it does. When I got this, I realized that there's another example that someone uses. He pulled out this note, and it was money. And the fellow was talking, he burnt the money. Like literally, lit it all on fire. And what he was saying was this, is that because the money that he had was a physical thing, he added heat to it, it turned to smoke, and then it turned to air. And we're saying, what the hell did he do that for? Because now we're saying it doesn't exist. But he's saying it does. So we have all the money that we want in this room. Just because we can't see it, doesn't mean to say that it doesn't exist. All we need to do is tune into it with our mind so that we can get into the higher levels of understanding so that we can then interact with it in the physical.
If you are liking what you're watching so far, I want to invite you into my online community, Seeds of Self, the #1 community for Māori and growth-minded individuals who are ready to break cycles and make meaningful change in their health, finances, whānau, and themselves. Check out the link below and join the whānau. Let's go.
The things that you want in your life are going to come, but it's having the will, it's having the courage to be so deliberate about what you want for your life. So I read my card freaking multiple times a day. I've even recorded myself saying it, so I'm listening to it as I'm driving. And so if we can, probably an illustration of how unconscious we are, guys, is let's say, I use this all the time, but like, let's say sitting down is when you're unconscious, right? Which is when you're obviously not conscious, right? But when you're conscious and aware, it means standing up, okay? But this is what happens in like freaking seconds or even minutes. It's like you're unconscious because you're thinking about whatever, and then all of a sudden you're aware of what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you're not. And then all of a sudden you are. But it's really like this. But more like this.
But you stand up sitting there, how do you know that chair's going to hold you? How do you know to sit down?
See, I don't know what that looks like in what you're sharing. This is just to illustrate how conscious and unconscious we are on a moment-to-moment basis. Yeah. What this helps us do is it helps us to be more conscious, so we're standing more. And so when we're standing more and we're more conscious, we're actually more attuned to where we want to be and where we are.
Want to go to?
Yes. And so when I'm conscious and thinking about the things that I'm wanting, because that's right based on our diagram, we always got to go back to our thinking. When I'm sitting down, guess what's driving? Whatever the subconscious beliefs I have are. Which is, I still might have residue of I'm not good enough. I might have comparison. So all of those negative thoughts that we have, we're not consciously choosing to think about them, are we? They're just happening because we're not conscious. And so what that tells us is that that's our subconscious programming
Well,
That's the negative thinking. And so when we are in there, to catch it is like, shit, I'm not being conscious at the moment. So what do? We stand up, we pull out the card, we breathe, we do the things to bring us back into a conscious state. Because the more that we do that, that's how we actually plant more in here, and we catch it a whole lot faster. Ka pai? But the cool thing about it is like the more questions you have and the more you answer, the more clearer. Because when you close your eyes and you're thinking, I just want to be a better person, like what does that look like? What's the details? And so that's what we're doing with this, is we're getting the details. So when I close my eyes and I think about the person, how I think, the things that I'm doing for mahi, because when you think about whatever it is, all of those things have a frequency. Thoughts are frequency as well, you know, as we're learning about the frequencies. So if you get more detail, you can get more clearer passage to the frequency that you want. Whereas if you don't have enough clarity, you might break out. But what we want is we want to break through. And you'd be amazed at what that can do. Because if you're reading something consistently and you're thinking about it consistently, you go and do the thing that the old version of you would do, and then you realize, shit, this isn't the person that I
wrote on the book.
I wrote on the book. And so you're like, okay, shit, yeah, that person does this instead. And so that's how it happens. It's the little subtle
things. What if you wrote
things.
anything in the book? What if it was like all good stuff that you didn't want to change about yourself?
Well, then you're already the version of yourself that you want to be. Yeah.
I am.
Cool. And the reason I say that is because we can get so used to being ourselves that the thought of anything outside of ourselves, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's not safe out there, but it's safe here, even if there's things in our lives or about ourselves that we know would be better off without. It's what we know. And it's that we struggle to part with. We struggle to part with what we know.
Right, I sort of like safeguard myself.
Yeah.
So I already set these things in place.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get hurt.
Yes. Yeah. And that's all of us.
Yeah.
You know, that's every single one of us. We do that. But what we want to work towards on this corridor that we've been having is we want to break out of some of these destructive patterns and thinking, even if it's comfortable, even if it feels good. And this stuff here is just a way to help us know that that's part of the process, is unlearning that stuff.
I like what you were going to say earlier. The fact of the matter is, we all got problems, eh?
100.
We all got problems. We all got issues. That's what's on the table. I think we can all relate to that, whatever that looks like.
I find comfort knowing that other people are struggling. Not to say like I'm glad they're struggling, but it's to fucking sweet, I'm not alone in this. Oh well, I just want to say thank yous anyway for today. I feel like, you know, we were able to have some pretty cool hohonu kōrero. We got something at the end there, we've got something to take away. And I think a week just to be able to process and digest everything is just going to be good for all of us. But yeah, just looking forward to coming back next week and spending more time and furthering the wānanga. Hopefully there's been some things that have happened over the week. If not, kei te pai, don't be hard on yourself. That's part of it too, right? It's knowing what you should have done and not doing it and being able to just show up again. Ka pai? Alright. Kia koe, whanapa, tātou karakia, kia whakakapi. Holy! That is the day done and dusted, guys. I was just walking to the car and then one of the bros who was in the car, he was like, brother, you videoing? I was like, yeah bro, videoing for YouTube. And one of the sayings here is, clear. And then he asked me to shout out the Murupara bike riders. Hopefully I got that right. But yeah, the sayings here crack up. Clear or coat. What else? Oh, Murupara Madness Riders, I think is what he said. No affiliation from me. But that was a good day. Man, we went deep right away. Shee. We went deep in that kōrero. in that session, and it was neat because there were other people who were open to having a wānanga and just sharing their views and their thoughts, and there were some in there that just weren't saying anything but were tuning in and listening. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was cool. One reflection for me is be nice if I can just, you know, plan things a little bit better, because I just go in there and just go off the cuff, you know, a lot of the time, and just tune into, you know, what needs to be said. But you know, there's room there. I think there's room for me to be able to improve and obviously, you know, better my service and myself, and just to be able to shift the energy rather than it just sitting and, you know, receiving a lot. It's, you know, maybe it's getting up and getting out and, you know, figuring out things like that. But overall, based on what I got from the people who were there, I think they got a lot out of it. They were able to take something from it with one of the activities, and yeah, I get to see them again in a week's time too. So I think that's the good thing. It's just being able to, you know, give them a lot, and then they can process it, look at implementing it, and then let's just see what next week looks like. And if not, we can, you know, have a look at, you know, some of the things that they're actually wanting. Maybe there was something that I could have done too, you know. Maybe I could have got some feedback from them, and, you know, what is something that you would like to happen in the next one? Learning, so I'm just sharing this as I'm thinking about it. But anyway, that's a day in the life of me coming to Murupara to do a workshop with some of the students from REAP. And it was about personal growth, development, the mindset, the heart set, and it was a good day. Catch ya in the next vlog, everybody. Boop.